Okay, so let's talk about value. And no, I don't mean a value meal. I don't mean fries and a drink. Although, you know what? That sounds pretty good right now. I mean value as a design element, the scale between light and dark that gives your work structure, contrast, and depth. It is one of those things that could quietly make or break your composition. If your work doesn't have enough value contrast, then it's basically like visual soup. Everything blends together and it's kind of bland. Your focus disappears. And suddenly you have a beautiful mess that is just like, meh. So today I want to go deep on this. Not just how to use value, but how to think about it. Because it is both super practical and kind of poetic when you really think about it. Most of design is kind of funny that way. You start adjusting levels in Photoshop, and next thing you know, you're contemplating the difference between light and dark like a philosopher. Okay, let's start with the hands-on stuff. Value is all about the lightness and darkness of a color, right? It lets you create visual hierarchy, rhythm, and a sense of depth. It is one of those things that you can use to guide the viewer's eye. Because, as we talked about on this channel, our brains love contrast. It is literally irresistible to us as a human species. You could think of value as the spotlight operator in design. It could quite literally shine a light on what gets seen first and what fades into the background, as well as how your viewer experiences your work. If you ever look at a poster and immediately notice the headline, or maybe it's the image or the tagline, congratulations, you just experienced value doing its job. But if everything screams for attention equally, then it's chaos, visual noise. Like every band member decided to do a solo all at once. Here is a great quick check. Convert your design to grayscale. No colors, no distractions, just pure light and dark. If suddenly your design turns flat, like one gray blob, that is your visual cue to add more contrast. Because even the most beautifully chosen color palette won't save you if your value is off. Good design needs range, deep shadows, bright highlights, those soft midtones that tie everything together. That is what gives your design life, breathing room, range. Now here's where we get a little bit sentimental. Because value isn't just a technical skill, it's a mindset. Think about it. Light and dark have always symbolized balance, right? Without darkness, light doesn't mean anything. And without light, darkness has no definition. Design works exactly the same way. You need contrast, not just visually, but emotionally. It is what gives your design work energy. Value reminds us that tension isn't a bad thing. It is the very thing that creates balance. Those subtle shifts between light and dark, bold and soft, loud and quiet, that is where depth comes from. And I think that's what makes value very poetic. It is like the visual version of growth. You need those darker moments to appreciate the highlights. Okay, yes, I know, I got really philosophical over a color slider, right? But welcome to my brain. So when I am adjusting value in a layout, it's not just about visibility. It is about storytelling. What is the emotional rhythm here? Where do I want the eye to rest? Where should it feel heavy, calm, and intense? Because value isn't one of those things that is just seen, it is felt. So here are some quick tips about how you could train your eye for value. Okay, let's get practical again. How do you actually get better at using value? Tip number 1, start with black and white. When you strip color away, it forces you to focus more on contrast and balance. I used to do this when I was designing layouts in university. It was always my fail-safe to see if everything was balanced. If the black and white version looked balanced, then I knew that the color version would too. Number 2, and you guys have heard me talk about this one before, do the squint test. Seriously, squint at your design. If you could still tell where the main focal point is, then your contrast and value is solid. And if not, then you have some fine-tuning that you need to do. Tip number 3, experiment with extremes. Take one of your designs and duplicate it. Make one of the versions super high contrast, really bold, really graphic. Then make another version with soft and low contrast. You could give it more of a dreamy and calm feel. That will allow you to instantly feel how value changes how your work is perceived. And that has to be my favorite thing about design. You could instantly shift the whole mood just by adjusting how light or dark something is. Value might be simple on paper: light, dark, done. But in reality, it could be the very thing that holds everything together. It is the reason that typography pops on a background. It is why your eye naturally flows through a poster or a web layout. It is the quiet backbone of good composition. And maybe that is why I love it so much. Because it teaches us that design, and maybe life too, isn't about staying in one extreme. It is about finding balance. The gradients between light and dark, bold and subtle, simple and complex. Somewhere in that in-between is where all the real magic happens. So the next time that you're working on a design project, don't just ask if it looks good. Ask if it feels balanced. Because great design, it doesn't only look right, it feels right. All right, I said the word value maybe 50 times in this whole video. So if your brain starts to sound like a cash register, you're not alone. I'm there right now. Okay, but seriously, I would love to know, are you that designer that tends to design with high contrast? Or do you tend to lean more to soft and subtle palettes? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. And if you enjoy these deep dives into the elements of graphic design, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more, because I make videos like this every single week. And that's all I have for you right now. See you next time. Bye-bye.